So if you could have one wish to improve your job, what would it be? As pharmacy managers, you all play an enormous role in ensuring the quality of care and the safety for our patients. After all, this company wouldn't be the Pharmacy America Trust without our pharmacy managers and our staff pharmacists. I've reviewed the response feedback from the pharmacy managers on the perception of how the company is doing, and including things that you think are being done well and things that you'd like to see improvement on. Today we're going to go through each of the 6 areas of inquiry that were addressed in the survey, and we're going to I'm going to present to you 3 recommendations that I will present to corporate based on the areas that you found lacking in the survey, and those are the ones that I believe are the most urgent issues that we can address. Some of the issues that will be addressed might be things that you expressed concern about individually in your survey, so I hope you all are eager to listen and find out what your peers responded. Some of the things that I recommend might be the proposed solutions that I recommend will likely affect all of you. So the survey basis, it was designed on the Integrative Motivation Program. It looks at 6 areas of job performance and satisfaction, including goals and performance expectations, obstacles to performance, reinforcement in the workplace, salience of incentives, and equity of reward distribution, as well as timeliness of rewards and feedback. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the performance expectations and goals. What I found is that a good percentage, 94% of you understood the goals and expectations of you as a pharmacy manager, but only 32% responded saying that you accepted the goals, which is definitely concerning. What we found is that you all had concerns about what a 5 out of 5 entails when doing self-evaluations, and those are not unfounded concerns for busy scores. So like, for example, one thing that you all addressed when doing your survey was that the people leadership pillar, the 5 was saying you proactively prevent extraordinary customer care issues, conflict, morale problems by anticipating and developing solutions in advance of problems. One responder said that this is like requiring people to read minds, which definitely I understand why that's frustrating, and I do think it's a good issue to bring to the corporate people. So you also have said that the key process indicators change rather frequently for you, and it's hard to keep up with. They change every fiscal quarter, and I think a good solution to that would be probably changing the goals for you guys every 2 fiscal quarters, so it's like a bit less to keep up on, and you can keep focused on what the current things are. Another thing that was addressed that I definitely believe is valid and that I will be improving is the delight scores. Those delight scores are based on phone surveys by customers that they call in, and they give their experience at retail pharmacy a 9 out of 9, like a score from 1 to 9. And the delight scores are your performance is based on how many 9 out of 9s you get, or like how many 100%. So there is some issue taken with that, and I think there's definitely an easy fix to that to make sure that your job and hard work is well recognized, that I will be addressing later in the presentation. So some obstacles to performance. You all definitely have had your training modules and your regular communications with people regarding the expectations of you. Some resources that you guys needed were more technician hours, especially in the busier stores with a high volume of prescriptions. You mentioned that there are time off and sick days for technicians that aren't accounted for when making the budget for tech hours, and so I think we could work way around that as well. There's also time that you guys found was a factor. Many of you believe that the 2 hours that's allotted for managerial duties throughout the week is not sufficient, and it ultimately takes away from time with your family, which I understand that's a concern. It's really important to have a good work-life balance. So what we're going to talk about next are the rewards and discipline, like reinforcement. Most of you said you were intrinsically motivated, meaning that you all find reward and satisfaction in your job from the relationships you build with customers and being able to help people, which is definitely what we want to see in our pharmacists at this company. We love for you guys to be involved and care for the patients that you see. So the reward system is a yearly bonus. The bonus is based on many factors, like there are many goals to meet, and to what extent you meet the goal. For example, one thing is to meet the prescription filling metrics on time, as far as like time filled, like how long the customer had to wait, when it was verified by the pharmacist, and things like that. So what happens is there's also punishments, and those are like you would have to write an action plan for change, and you'd get negative feedback from store managers and higher ups, which is part of the plan to improve after you have received a bad performance. So there are some issues brought up with the degree to which the outcomes are based on performance. Some people address that there are things they don't have control over, such as with busier stores, it's hard to control how many issues like insurance problems you're going to encounter when filling prescriptions, as well as the vaccine goals that are hard to control. For example, there was one vaccine goal for last year was 801 flu shots, and then this year that was raised to about 1,200 flu shots, which is almost 50% increase. And many of you expressed, frustration over the fact that you can't control how difficult, like how bad the flu season is. Excuse me. And therefore, it's kind of hard to, or it seems unfair to base your performance and your raise based on the flu shots, because you also cannot pressure someone into getting a vaccine, but you can suggest it. There's certain lines that you can't cross, and so it's a bit unfair to have these vaccine goals when some people are really obstinate and against vaccines. So another issue that we talked about was the salience of the incentives provided. Like I said earlier, you all are intrinsically motivated, and you have value in your relationships with the customers, but you feel that the rewards are not worth the effort. So like many of you expressed concern or like just frustration that the rewards were unattainable and the goals you had to meet were really impossible. While on the other hand, others felt that they were fine. I think what was going on underneath there was that the people that thought it was hard to maintain were the ones that had very high volume stores and like difficult clientele, that had more issues than other stores that were not like maybe served by younger people, so they didn't have as many medications to take care of as compared to a store that has elderly patients. So one thing that was very important for me to see was that someone said there are too many factors standing in the way of the high bonuses, and I feel like it's futile to try and work harder when it doesn't reward, like when you always feel like you're failing. And I do think that we can definitely work with corporate and try to change the reward system. So as far as the equity reward distribution, every store gets the same rewards for meeting the same goals. Some stores, however, face challenges that other stores don't, and those aren't taken into account when setting goals. So I can definitely understand how this is frustrating and seems unfair to pharmacy managers in stores that have more difficult populations, such as this one store is an HIV Center of Excellence, and they have a lot of elderly patients as well as patients that are on Medicaid. So not only is that more paperwork, but it's also more medications and more time they have to spend with the customer to make sure they understand their medications. And it's also, I can definitely understand how that's hard to meet those goals when you have a clientele that needs more care and more quality care by the pharmacist. And one thing is that corporate does not take into account these factors when setting goals. This is one of the issues that I will bring up, and I think I have a really good solution to this, which I will talk about. Or first, I want to talk about timeliness. So you all have your yearly performance reviews with your store manager, as well as a mid-year check-in and informal conversations that you have, like daily or weekly, with your store manager or your regional manager about where your store is at. So the time frame of the rewards, the bonuses, are only once a year, which is traditional, I guess, for a bonus. Someone suggested that it was a great suggestion by an employee. We suggested that the bonuses go to quarterly bonuses that are based off of quarterly goals, because they found it would be much more. It'd be easier, but also a challenge to meet quarterly goals as opposed to a yearly goal, because yearly goals can change a lot. So as far as the recommendations that I will make, I will rework the Delight scoring system. What I want is to include the 8 out of 9 and maybe even the 7 out of 9 scores that customers provide through those Delight phone surveys. because I think while a 9 out of 9 is a very, very honorable and very distinctive score, I think it will record your job well done better than just using a 9 out of 9.